Hey guys, so I'm going to be reupholstering this ottoman to match my new room. I have some white paint there that I'm going to use to paint the base. Bella's helping. Right, Bella? Hi, Bella. All right. Sit. Bella, sit. Good girl. All right, so I'm going to take the top off. It has some piping that I will replicate in my sewing machine and then put on when I'm reupholstering it. And the fabric I'm going to be using is this fabric I bought from IKEA. It's the shades of the gray and yellow that I painted my room, and the curtains will go back to these shades, and the pillows will go back to these shades. They will be all different shapes, but it'll all be the same color, and when you put them together, they should all be friendly. Okay, so I'll come back when I have the ottoman taken apart and I'm ready to cut the fabric to reupholster the top. Okay, so I've taken the base off and here it is. This is the base. And I mean, this is the seat and this is the base. So I've separated them. There were some screws there and there and there and there and over there and over there. I took those screws off. I took the bottom off of the cushion. There was a black piece on the bottom actually covering the bottom of the base. I'm now going to give this base one coat of a flat white and then come back and give it a glossy white. But right now, as you can see, there is some piping on this that I'm going to take out and replicate on my sewing machine with either yellow or white, maybe a gray, I'm not sure yet. And then I'm going to cut this piece off and measure it against my fabric that I will be using for this project, and then reupholster. I'm going to reupholster over this piece because you won't see this under the fabric. The fabric is kind of thick. It isn't a see-through fabric. And then all these staples have to come out. That's a project. I won't bore you with that. But here, as you can see, I've taken the piping out. So I'm going to take all the piping out. I'm going to take this fabric off. And then when I get to the base and I'm ready to measure the fabric that's going to go over the base, the new fabric, I'll come back. Alright, so here it is. I got all my piping out. As you can see, there's no more. Ooh, sorry. My bad. There's no more piping here. Now I'm going to get this fabric off. I didn't want to take this fabric off because you can't see through the new fabric. But I don't want it to be so bulky that it won't fit on the base again. So I'm also going to take this piece of fabric off because I want to measure it against this fabric so I know how much fabric I need and I'm not wasting any fabric. I've not yet painted the base, but I will. I'd like to upholster the top so when the base is painted and dry, I can just plop the top on. It's always handy to have a few tools. A little bin to put your staples in as you're taking them off. Pair of pliers for pulling gently. Let's see. A couple screwdrivers, flathead, star, another flathead, and a hammer and a spatula. Oh my god, my tools are so old. So yeah, so I used the spatula to pry, and the hammer, the back of the hammer right there to pull the staples up. And sometimes when the staple comes up on one side but not the other, you have to use the pliers. It's good to take your time and be slow at what you're doing so you don't break anything. So this cording, I'm going to cut this piece of fabric open because, again, I don't want to waste material. And I want to know exactly how much I need to replicate this cording. I know the material is exactly the same because I went to IKEA and I cut a piece of the material off and brought it, and they gave me the exact same weight. I don't know what that is. Again, I'm not an expert. I just play one on YouTube. Anyway. But I believe I saw a reupholstering video on YouTube. And I believe this is not even cording. I think that this is a piece of cardboard. So if it's a piece of cardboard, I won't reuse it. But if it's a piece of actual cording, I will make my cording with what's in here. If it isn't, then I will have to use my own cording, which is a little thicker than this. I think this is like 2 millimeters thick and my cording is like 4 millimeters thick, but it will just play, you know, nice with the aesthetics of it'll just make my ottoman look a lot nicer than just a cording that you really didn't see. Well, it's called piping. What's inside is cording. It's called piping when it's on the actual ottoman or a pillow. So, yeah, I'm going to do that, and then I'll come back at you when I'm ready to cut all the pieces, okay? So here we go. I've put my fabric on the fabric I'm going to use. I have it folded in half. I'm going to leave this edge the way it is. I'm not going to cut that edge, the white edge. However, I am going to measure this material a little longer because if you can see here, sorry, I have a little bit of the design exposed. That's about 4 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that because that's where I want the fold to end up being. So the fold is probably going to be 2 inches in. And so I'm going to come all the way back down here where this fabric is. And I'm going to find 2 inches in here. Sorry. 4 inches. I'm sorry, 4 inches. And I'm going to cut it even so that this will be tucked under, but they will end 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch, and it will be even. So you don't see any differences between the front and the back. And I will do the same for the middle. So the middle here, see how I folded it in half so the square is half the square and the other half of the square is on the back. So what will happen is on this side, it will be the same. So this half the square will level off with this half of the square. So, and you'll see it all when we're about to put it together. So right now I'm going to make my cuts and get the top and start. As you can see now, my fabric falls within the half square on one side, the half square on the next side. And as I stated, I will fold over on this half square and the same on this side. I will fold over on this half square. Okay, so you'll see the line there, same on the other side. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to staple gun this end, this end, this end, and this end. And then I'm going to have it all nice and tight, and then I will continue to staple. I took all the staples that were from the original upholstery out so that it's nice and neat and it falls nice. I'll take these 2 out. I didn't notice I had 2 of them, but all the other ones are out. It's a little tacky from the glue that was on it, which is fine. It works out to my benefit. Okay, when I'm done, I'll flip it over and let you see. So here we are. It's all stapled down. all except the corners here, which I will fix up and staple down. So originally the staples were out here from the new, around here from the old ottoman, but I stapled up here with a little fold on the top to make it nice and neat, and because I will be stapling here later on when I put in the piping, and I'll show you the piping right now. So here you go, everything is nice and folded over and stapled, aside from the corners, which I will do at the end because I want to get a nice clean edge here. So when it's folded, you see that it creases, so it'll be a little pulling and tugging and getting a nice clean edge. So I'm gonna cut my fabric a bit and get it in real nice so that you won't even notice that. But there it is, and flip, a quick flip. There you go. See how we got the half line here, and then we go all across and it's the same around here. All of it is the same, and then we get here and it's the half line on the bend. The fabric design is this way, so it looks a little off, but it's not. Then when we get to this side, it goes all the way to the edge. See that? And then it bends, it folds on the line here. So there it is. And here is the base. It's been painted and it's almost ready. I'll show it to you when it's all together. Alright guys, so here it is. I'm putting the screws back in. All the piping is done all around. The top is put on. It's all painted. And when I'm done, I'll come back at you, show it to you.